Tears don't fall, baby!
Woo!
Now, this is a show wherein we will be subjecting one another to a band's entire discography and then putting together our own personal preference-based tier lists.
Yes.
5 ranks, S, A, B, C, D. And then we will be presenting them to you, and you, the viewers, will vote on whose subjective opinion is objectively correct or more correct. I don't know. Ill thought out.
We just go head to head. You decide the winner.
Yeah, that's it. And this week we are starting with a kind of handshake, I guess, of doing Metallica, a band that we are both, versed in and enjoy.
It's a band we've never really discussed before.
And haven't really touched on.
Which is interesting, considering it's such a cornerstone of this culture.
I feel like it's a band that is such a cornerstone that I don't even feel the need to revisit them very often.
It's fair. It's taken for granted.
Yeah, totally. But I've really enjoyed an excuse to get back to them.
Yeah, I've certainly had some realizations after revisiting their full catalog. Albums that I had not listened to in their entirety before at all, and albums that I loved that I've gone back to and found entirely new angles on why I like them, or things that I wish could have been improved upon at the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
Likewise.
And hello, Crystal, how are you doing? You're just in time, baby. So we will get started. This will have a kind of a home and away kind of vibe.
Close reach
not
day.
The show.
No. Sorry,
You can't use that phrase in Australia. Like home team, away team kind of thing. In which case the home team would go first. But given that I am the most humble and sporting man on the planet, I would like you to go first.
And humility is certainly not my middle name.
Alrighty. We're going to get into it.
Beautiful. And the riff couldn't come in soon enough. We love it.
Beautiful. We love the riff. The riff.
Yes.
Hello, Guy. How are you?
Hey, baby. Enjoy the new overlay, chat.
Yeah, look at that. Look at what I made with my hands.
Sparkly. All shiny and chrome. We love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So, obviously, first album takes away.
Humble beginnings for any band. We're going to go in chronological order of the 10 studio albums of Metallica. We'll not be hitting up any cover albums such as Garage Inc. We'll not be hitting live albums such as Live Shit, Binge Purge, or S&M, S&M2, etc. Just going through the studio releases. Also, no Lulu. Sorry, there's no L tier here for everyone in chat. But if there was.
I was going to say the alphabet simply isn't long enough, but it totally is.
It absolutely is.
You would make an exception for Lulu.
Totally. All right, so let's get into it. First come off the rank is Kill 'Em All. I am sticking Kill 'Em All at A tier. I think it's quite a remarkable release for a band's first album. To me, it's one of my favorites of their catalog. It has so many iconic tracks. It is so vibrant. It's so fun. It's really energetic. And it doesn't necessarily dictate the rest of where the band are headed. It's definitely one of their lightest albums in the sense of the themes, I think, even though they're still singing Four Horsemen and the like. Musically, it has this sort of spark, this brightness to it. I think Metallica lose pretty fast. Not so much the energy, but that sense of I don't know. I don't see this reflected in many of their other works. That sort of like real joy.
Yeah, no, I feel that
this brings.
There's a youthful exuberance to this album.
Yeah, definitely.
A naivete. For sure.
Yes. For a first release, it's really impressive in terms of its pacing, its songwriting, and its influence and its innovation. This is possibly the record that established American thrash. I can't think of a bigger one at the time.
I feel like
there may have been a few other bands in the scene that influenced Metallica at the time. But Venom.
I have heard some people cite Venom's 1981 "Welcome to Hell."
Yeah, and they had a release like 1979 as well.
Yeah, but nah.
But
fuck it.
where were Venom located?
They were British.
Yeah. So this was like US thrash.
Yeah.
It's across the sea, and it's a completely different flavor.
Yeah, totally.
And it's indicative of things to come. So for that alone, I think it's an easy A. For everything it offers. You got such sick tracks like Hit the Lights out of the gate opens a
beautiful opener.
Strong album.
Yeah, totally.
Phantom Lord, Whiplash, Jump in the Fire. Like, so many sick tracks. Seek and Destroy is a staple for any guitarist, at least, to learn, to be able to jam. At least in my my circle.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially as kids. Like, one of the first tracks anyone would hit up while they were learning metal, I think is a pretty safe bet. Mm-hmm. And Metallica is an excellent band for that in general. 4 tracks from Mustang. That is beautiful. I love that. It's unfortunate that at the time, but couldn't be better. Get a little bit of Mustang and Metallica, and then we get to birth Megadeth off the back of it all. Mm-hmm. I think this is some of the excellent signposting to come that Kirk doesn't have many tracks included, like not many writing credits for this album. Let's see how that goes. Let's follow Kirk's writing input to where we tier list going forward.
Okay, sure. I'm excited. I've never really paid much attention to his writing credits in relation to the quality, or like how much I've enjoyed an album. So I'm excited. Like you might pull the curtain back. I might see through the fucking Matrix, dude.
Yeah,
all right. I put Kill 'Em All as an A rank for me as well.
Good one.
I think. I don't rate it as highly as some of their other albums in terms of pacing and certainly not in terms of production quality. But I find the story of how it came about and the I guess the context for its shortcomings in terms of production and the again the naivety that comes across in the song structures, and the lyrics are really charming. So much so that, I mean, you put it on and it's I find it really engrossing. It takes you back to being that like pent up and like But I saw Heath said it's young and angsty.
Yes.
I wouldn't say angsty. Young, definitely. Angst, I think, comes in later for them. This feels just like young and excitable more than anything.
Yeah.
Just like utterly thrilled to be making music and stuff.
It's the terrier. Metallica albums.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've got songs about like heavy metal and just like
definitely there is that sort of like Manowar angle of like singing about metal, playing metal, singing about metal because we are metal. And I mean, it's certainly reflected in the name.
Yeah, totally.
So, but hey, I'm guilty. Oh,
I love it. I mean, like Whiplash,
doing that myself.
Like I was so thrilled when I like learned to play Whiplash and drums and stuff, and Seek and Destroy, same thing. Going back and revisiting it, I definitely didn't give Motor Breath or Phantom Lord enough credit. As being sick tracks. I don't know. Do they ever go back to Phantom Lord live? I don't think it's on any of their. It might be on Live Shit Binge Purge, perhaps. Okay, cool.
Because they do play a fair bit of Kill 'Em All on that.
Yeah.
But I'm not certain.
Okay, I'll have to give it a look. But I really like this album. I really like coming back to it. I think I had one more thing to say about it. Nah, it's gone. Doesn't matter. Probably
something else I need to credit is that Kill 'Em All was also responsible for E1M1, one of the most iconic Doom tracks of all time.
Dude.
The No Remorse verse riff is just a absolute it's just a permutation of that.
Cool. Sorry, I was thinking
around
of the other Doom track. Is it just the theme? The one that's just Master of Puppets.
Yep, that's the one.
That's No Remorse. Okay. My mistake.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess if you take it similarly, you can say it's also Master of Puppets. Yeah.
Anyway, what do you reckon for where they went next?
Where they go next? After this, if Kill 'Em All is yin, then Ride the Lightning is yang. I think this album is much of a muchness in terms of its energy, but it offers a new, darker side of Metallica. If Kill 'Em All is energetic and is bright, then Ride the Lightning is dark and violent. If I see a dude rocking white Nikes, I just know that Ride the Lightning is his favorite Metallica record. This is an album that I initially had in B, and after a little bit of thought and more grazing over the pacing and the track list, went, you know what? There's not a bad track on this album. It's quite stacked. Oh, you got.
I disagree. I absolutely disagree.
All right. Let's hear about it in a minute.
Yep.
Cool. Actually, I disagree.
Did you remember the bad track?
I did remember the bad track because
no. Escape, dude. Why is that track on there?
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Fade to Black.
No! Oh my god, no! Fade to Black is fucking sick.
The reason this couldn't ever hit S is because it opens up the tragic history of Metallica ballads.
No.
And we'll get onto that one later.
No.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
Not even sorry. Whoever had the idea of a instrumental chorus? Please. No, it's innovative. It's exciting.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, okay.
But I've just personally finds their ballads, their soft songs, the weakest in their catalog. In otherwise strong albums. Really like what it does dynamically, but just it might be that it's been overplayed. I recall when I saw Metallica, I believe it could have been the same show you saw with Lamb of God and Baroness.
No, I saw them later in the year or earlier. I can't remember. They added another show where they toured with Fear Factory, Factory at the time, and sorry, I don't know why that was worth mentioning. And who was the other? The Sword.
Right.
Pretty.
Right. Nice. Very cool.
Diverse lineup.
Yeah, definitely.
But same tour, Death Magnetic tour.
Yeah. Oh, I was spilled. I found myself just watching my wristwatch as they hit up Fade to Black, Nothing Else Matters, and The Unforgiven all back to back, and I think one as well. I'm sure that's a wet dream for so many, but I was just going. I think, when are we bringing the riff back, boys?
Yeah. Lumping those three together in a set does.
They're long ones.
Yeah.
But thankfully, at this point in their career, long tracks are good because it's full of fat riff. Fight Fire with Fire is a fucking killer opener, dude, and it sets the tone for this record so well. Again, their openers thus far are wonderful. For Whom the Bell Tolls is sitting there equal to Seek and Destroy for like mandatory learning to jam with people
for sure
in a heavy sphere. It's just like such easy curriculum to learn and to have fun with and get and vibe with, at least as a budding musician.
He says those three songs together as a poor life choice. That's funny.
Yeah, I do agree. And what can I say, Cons? Tell us about Trapped Under Ice.
Oh, dude, Trapped Under Ice fucking rules. All right, where did I put him? I think Ride the Lightning is S tier for me. I think it's I don't think it's much of a muchness between this and Kill 'Em All. I think it's like night and day.
Really?
I find the production has this kind of billowy quality, but it still sounds heavy and punishing and clean. Compared to the first one that sounds kind of light and airy in comparison. I think it's just a more cohesive, more consistent package overall. It's 47 minutes long. It's 8 tracks. I think it's the shortest Metallica album. I might be wrong in saying that. And I appreciate that. And it doesn't mean that the songs are necessarily all short. They're paced really nicely. I think Escape is a bit stinky, but it's like it comes at a place where you need a.
That's okay when you're sitting towards the back end of the album.
Exactly.
You need a breather.
It's like it comes in just before Creeping Death, being the 6.5 minute fucking banger. and ending with Call of Cthulhu, which I don't really like long instrumental tracks, but I really like this song. I think it's a cool...
You're lucky.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool way to close the album after Creeping Death.
Damn right it is.
Yeah,
Killer.
I really
Another
like.
Mustaine special. Coming at you from beyond the grave.
Maybe I should be more of a Megadeth fan then. But I absolutely disagree about Fade to Black being stinky. I love Fade to Black.
Many people do. It's definitely an unpopular opinion.
But I think
nevertheless,
that's
it is an A-form.
Partially because, Metallica being the... you can't think of heavy metal without thinking of Metallica, and their logo, it encapsulates heavy metal for so many.
Yeah.
So it's an obvious starting point for new fans. And I think when I was first getting into Metallica, and going back through their catalog, the ferocity of something like Fire with Fire was a little bit too much for my 14-year-old
Definitely.
ears.
Likewise.
So knowing that they had ballads and stuff that still turn into Fade to Black. It evolves into something a bit heavier and chunkier towards the end, and I think it's a cool. It's maybe one of the first, maybe not the first on this album, but an early example of them learning to use dynamics properly and having the song evolve. It doesn't. The first verse doesn't sound like the second verse. Doesn't sound like the rest of the song.
Yeah.
It evolves gradually. I think the only blight on the album is Escape. I think James Hetfield's come out and said that that's his least favourite song, and that it was just there to please producers who were you need a single.
Yeah, good one.
I think it's pretty weak, as a track, but it sits not where it sits on the album is fine. Again, coming after Trapped Under Ice and before Creeping Death, it's nice. I really like it.
You need a slight reprieve is excusable for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, nice.
And just to reel back, we were talking about Venom earlier and how I think why Kill 'Em All and why Metallica are we talk about them far more than we talk about Venom. Is because you look at the pictures of them on the liner notes in Kill 'Em All, especially, but in Ride the Lightning as well. They're these kids in fucking denim jackets and t-shirts and jeans and shit. It represented a heavy metal fan that I don't think
that's a real
was way more
us against the world.
But also way more everyman kind of thing. Venom is very they're all wearing spikes and leather and really giant belts with pentagrams on them and stuff.
Yeah, there's an exclusivity versus inclusivity.
Exactly. Whereas this was just we like beards, skateboards, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that helped a lot too.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
Yes.
Third album?
Next pick. All right. Third album. Yeah, you know it. That's Master Puppet, bitch. Yeah, dude. That's a fat S. That's a fat S.
It's a fat S.
That's a fat S.
S for slaps.
Talking about, an S for stacked. Check out that goddamn track listing. Now, this is... it's a pretty damn melancholy album to discuss for the obvious. Master of Puppets tour. We all know the story. But this showcases Cliff's mastery over songwriting, and I think it's very reflective of how much he drove Metallica. And for better or worse, Lars becoming more of a songwriter in the albums that would follow, and how much that steered their sound in different directions. I think this is the best album. This and maybe Ride the Lightning as well, to showcase what Cliff did for Metallica. Battery is a Battery Master to open up an album. I don't think you could find a better 1-2 punch to open an album. It's definitely you could make an argument for this being Metallica's best album, and I'm sure many do.
I think that's a widely accepted
sure it is
thought. Yeah,
I'm sure it is.
And I mean, like you say, 1-2 punch. I look at
this is like an 8 punch.
Yeah, it's a fucking combo, dude.
Yeah,
It's super sexy, stylish, dude.
It is. You need an SSS for this one, you reckon?
Yeah,
right.
totally.
I don't think I need to say too much about Master of Puppets. I think everyone else has said enough. Connor.
Yeah, I think the time has shown what fucking amazing album this is, and the impact that it's had. The fact that this is a lot of people when you ask them like, what's a heavy metal album that you would give someone to represent what heavy metal is, or to like a new person, I've had this conversation with friends, and a lot of them have said Master of Puppets. And coming back and listening to it, I don't think that's a bad idea. Like, I think this it has the ferocity of the previous 2 albums. It has the melodicism and the production. I feel like this and Ride the Lightning to me is like a much of a muchness. Sort of thing. Yeah, I feel like Ride the Lightning was... So Metallica was these kids making an album for the first time and just doing it because they had to do it. And Ride the Lightning was a more concerted effort to make something kind of cohesive and with a bit of a vision. I feel like Ride the Lightning is where the actual like real world angst kind of comes into it. Like, they're no longer writing songs about how cool heavy metal is. They've still got some escapist kind of stuff in terms of writing about like the plagues and stuff and Egypt.
And far more Lovecraftian.
But they also have songs. I mean, Ride the Lightning being about capital punishment and stuff like that. And then this is taking everything that they kind of started doing on Ride the Lightning and ramping it up, improving on it just tenfold. I mean, I think the album's structured masterfully. It doesn't fit. There's no like Ride the Lightning is like a six hit combo and then a slight miss with Escape. And then making good with the last couple of tracks. Whereas this is just it's tracks 1 to 8. It's fucking beautiful.
These puppets just will not miss.
These puppets do not myth. Thing that it should not be is so fucking heavy, and it's placed so nicely.
It feels like one of the heaviest in their catalogue.
Yeah,
just
right where you need
the power of songcraft.
It's right where you need something slow and trudging and just fucking pummeling. What do you think of Welcome Home as a ballad? I really like it.
I don't see Sanitarium as a ballad.
Oh, okay. Neither do I, but I feel like it serves the same...
But it serves that... It does serve that in the
exact spot.
I don't read Sanitarium as a ballad. It's definitely, like, to me, it's heavier and it's so much darker. But I guess that's just a matter of perspective.
Sure.
This one really works for me. And this, I guess, this feels like a bit of a counterpart to 1, to me. But I'm sure we'll get to that. In fact, why don't we?
We might as well. I have nothing else to say about this album, except that I definitely didn't give Disposable Heroes as much credit as I should have for, again, being a fucking banger. Sick track. And Heath is absolutely right. Damage Inc. is where it's at. Give tempo. Yeah. If you're looking for tempo, look no further.
Back half of this album is hard to... I guess it can go a little understated because of how strong and how pronounced the first half is, but the whole thing is incredible. The back half of this album would be better than the first half of most.
Yeah, totally. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And Orion as an instrumental track, again, I'm not usually one for instrumental tracks, especially not really fucking long ones. But this eight and a half minutes, it goes by like that. Because there's always something fucking happening.
It is. Cliff keeps it interesting.
Yeah, I think I definitely didn't pay attention to just how much Cliff's songwriting helped this stuff along in their early albums. I feel like once he leaves, they fall into some habits, or leaves this fucking plane. Oh God!
It was a bus.
Struggling. I was so struggling not to make a bus joke. Oh my God! I was so struggling not to make a bus joke.
I'm sorry.
No, thank you. I'm glad you did it and not me. Cancel him. Cancel that one. let's keep going. Let's
move on swiftly and
let's keep
briskly.
this bus on the road. Yeah, I feel like they fall into bad habits once his influence is no longer with them.
Definitely. There are a few things of note. All right, so I was talking about this sort of matching, this yin yang. You feel like it's paired between albums 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. So let's talk about the best metal album of the 80s. It's And Justice for All. Undoubtedly, undisputedly, the best Metallica album in their catalogue. It makes Master of Puppets look like Beginner of Puppets to me.
Wow!
I think this album is so incredibly well crafted and well written. Master of Puppets is wonderful for the metal world.
Mm-hmm.
And this album is wonderful for Metallica. I am almost certain that Cliff does not get as much credit as he deserves, or for one reason or another, on And Justice, because it feels like it's Puppets ramped up in terms of complexity and technicality. The performances are the best, undoubtedly the best and the tightest in their whole catalogue. The songwriting is fucking immense. The track listing is absolute fire. Blackened is just nuts. The amount of time I've put into learning this album and still struggle with some of the beats. Yeah. Some of the 5/8 grooves of like single bars where they'll just reverse the snare on a beat. And it's just there is so much love, attention, and detail poured into these tracks. Is also, of course, on Puppets, but And Justice feels like it just takes it to another level for me. Sure. We got to talk about the production. Where Puppets has a really good production for its time. Yeah. Justice drops the ball in the bass, of course. We have And Justice for Jason if we need it. It's strange, but I suppose it's within. They landed their vision. They landed their intent. It's very well documented that
that was an intentional thing. That they were like, "Hey, take the bass down until you can barely hear it, and then take it down even more." Yeah, and. We won't be the first. I won't be the first. I don't know how you feel about Newstead, but I feel like he's a real unsung hero. And he got 3 song credits in his whole fucking career, dude. Over 4 albums, if you include S&M as well. They put out some tracks on there, sort of. Yeah. My God, may it be known that up to Master of Puppets, Kirk has had like 6 songwriting credits in the discography. Here, I think he gets maybe another 4. No wonder that these albums are killer. How much more can I say for Justice? Harvester of Sorrow, Short of Straw, Fred Ends of Sanity. Yeah. Fucking insane. Dyer's Eve. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Over the Beholder. So fucking tough. All right. This is the point where they really get onto starting to write long albums. Like, they start getting fucking really long from here on out. Yeah. And I think this is the last point where it's long with a purpose. Okay. Yeah, I have some things to say. I rate it as an A tier album because I think it's a fantastic album. I like your comment that it's that Master was amazing for the metal world and Justice is amazing for Metallica. I think that's a lovely way to put it. I feel like this album marks the point where Metallica started liking the smell of their own farts. And I would say we all liked the smell of Metallica's farts at this point too. Yeah. We liked the smell of Metallica's farts here. The world, like, they had very commercially viable farts on the next release. Then they had a couple of Aftergrog bogs, and then there was blood in their stool. Indicative of tier lists to come. But I really like this album. It was the first Metallica album I bought because I liked One so much. I remember being struck by the lack of accessibility on the rest of the tracks, though. Not in terms of like a heaviness, but in terms of the structure. They're not typical song structures. It's like proggy almost. Yeah, it is. But it feels that I feel like they get into this. This is where they fall into a habit of just taking like with Cliff's influence of actually constructing a song gone, it becomes riff puzzle connected.
It absolutely does.
And so it feels like there's a lot of things that like I don't. I like all of these songs, but I feel like, again, it marks the start of a trend with them where everything from here on out, I'm like, I don't think any of these songs need to be that long.
Yeah,
you don't need to hear this section again.
From here on out, Lars has total writing credit for their discography.
Okay.
Because he is the new song structure guy. And it really does, you're right, in riff puzzles. From here on out, it's not so much writing to the song as the rest of their discography, to me, feels more jam-centric rather than arranged. And I think it enhances whatever is presented, this jam style. So if the riffs are amazing, it just makes more amazing riff. It's just more and more and more. If the substance is a bit lacking, then it just means there's more bad riff on top and layered on, and it's just decked.
Yeah.
I think Injustice has the best riffs.
Sure.
And because of that writing style, there's even more of them.
Yeah, okay. I again, having said all that, I really like this album. It's still an A-tier album for me, but I would rather listen to Master of Puppets. I would rather listen to Ride the Lightning. I'd probably also rather listen to Kill 'Em All, excuse me. But, I mean, sick tracks, Blackened, Justice, One, again, Shortest Straw. I feel like this album, I really connected to Lars's drumming because it was the album that I noticed him doing unintentionally, the fucking playlist we had going just went onto autoplay onto Lamb of God. But illustrates a point. The Shortest Straw has that like the triplet in the snare, has that shit. And I really
think Lars's drumming is the most inventive on the catalog in Injustice.
And I think
serves all the tempo changes, the constant tempo changes really well.
Yeah, and I think most
dynamic range
up to this point in their catalog, you can feel them getting better at their own instruments and better as songwriters and challenging themselves, pushing themselves further and further. And I think
what happened.
Again, they started liking the smell of their own farts, and we all liked the smell of their farts too.
Hubris.
All right, moving swiftly along.
Yeah, dude. All right. Next up, we have TBM.
B tier for no bass.
The Black Album. This goes into B tier for sure because if there was ever a fulcrum in a band's career, it is the Black Album for Metallica.
Okay,
if
and
this
translate
isn't like
for dum-dums, what's a fulcrum?
You know that little bit of a seesaw?
Yes.
We're teeter-tottering.
The triangle of the seesaw.
Yep.
If ever there was a triangle, just for anybody like myself who doesn't have a dictionary
and I wouldn't be surprised to see this reflected in tier list from here on out, as if this is the seesaw. Because
it's all downhill from here.
We'll find out. We'll see. This is such a middling album in every way. Commercially incredible, and credit to the Black Album for being some of the best-selling metal of all time and getting so many people and opening the world of metal up to so many people. That is remarkable, and you cannot discredit that, regardless of whether you like the album or not. And I think the same can be said for Master. Unfortunately, for my own taste, it does have some of my favorite tracks from Metallica and also some of my least favorite. Tracks like Wherever I May Roam, fucking nuts. Knuckin' futs, dude. Of Wolf and Man.
Yeah, Of Wolf and Man's fucking sick, dude.
Especially the S&M version.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my lord.
They're like the violin shrieks or whatever on the start. They're like dun dun dun. Oh, so cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is cool.
But then we're stuck with shit like Sad But True. So I'm gonna get lynched for this one. Oh god, I hate hearing them play that on every set. Does my head in. Yeah, just so drudgery.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I don't know why it lives in a single slot, dude. But hey, it was marketable. It did amazing stuff for so many people, and it got so many people into heavy music and put them on their own pathways to heavy creativity. I can't put it any lower than a B for that alone.
Yeah, totally.
The production's really good.
Yeah. Oh, the snare sounds fucking huge.
It's
Sounds like a
wonderful.
gun.
Wonderful production.
I think this. I too place this at B. For many of the reasons that you mentioned, I feel like it's almost like the ultimate gateway metal album. For someone, I think for someone who you feel. I said Master of Puppets earlier would be the album that you give to someone if they're like, I want to get into metal.
It's this.
I would say this is the album that people discover on their own because they hear Enter Sandman through an uncle, or Sad But True, or I really resent tracks like Nothing Else Matters and the trend of ballads from here on out.
Yeah,
because this is really fucking petty. But the amount of people I've heard go, I walked down to the aisle to Metallica. It's like, cunt, you didn't sprint down the aisle to Dies Eve. You fucking walked down to Mama Said. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. Dear mother, dear mother. Your parents in the front row just like, So that aside, I think, A Wolf of Man's sick. I quite like My Friend of Misery. I kind of like The Unforgiven as well. Even though it has that kind of ballady thing, but it's like
I do love ballad. The Unforgiven.
I like it.
As a ballad, it still really works.
Yeah,
and I think this opens up Metallica's cowboy phase.
10-gallon hats on from here on out, kids.
Someone in chat, won't dox, mentioned where's the cowboy metal.
This is it.
By the way, Metallica is their favorite band. They asked, "Where's the cowboy metal?" I don't think that person's looked in a mirror lately. Holy shit! Here's the cowboy metal, dude. Here on out.
It's on your fucking head.
What else to say about the Black Album? I feel that it just hits the center of Metallica's career.
Yeah,
in so many ways.
I think it also acts as like
a real pivot point.
It acts as like a fork in the road for whether or not people go further into heavy music, or if they are forever the uncle at the barbecue that goes, "Oh yeah, no, what do you think of that Metallica? What do you think of that Enter Sandman?"
Yeah, from here on out, it's music to make racist videos in your truck too. Speaking of,
couldn't ask for a fucking sicker soundtrack though. Low, dude. Now, tell us what you really think.
Snooze Fest butt rock. Connor, you have the floor.
You said that, and I looked down at the track listing, and the first track is "Ain't My Bitch." So you ain't their bitch. Neither am I.
Oh shit!
Really not a fan, dude. Really not a fucking
God
fan.
Damn!
Why did this butt rock 70 fucking 8 minutes of butt rock, dude?
It's egregious. It's ridiculously
tracks.
long.
Are you fucking kidding me? And again, Mama Said is on here. Jesus Christ. Now, I will say, I quite like King Nothing as a track.
Yeah. Okay. It had potential.
I really think King Nothing is the only track that this song has going for it.
I think King Nothing, the riff, like the essence of the riff,
yeah,
could live on Ride the Lightning if you chuck the thrash beat behind it. But unfortunately, you put behind it a...
Yeah.
It's just devoid of life.
This track, or this album feels like we talked about them pushing their own playing and their songwriting up until And Justice. Black Album feels like maybe them going, okay, we don't need to play everything at once. Let's pull it back a little bit and just groove. This feels fucking lazy.
It feels so low energy compared to the rest of their catalog. Enter Sandman started to everything on from like Black Album. Started to trudge in like a lot of mid-tempo. This is like mid-tempo at best.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
It has no urgency in the pacing, the track listing.
Yeah, it's a real slog.
It is, and it's. If this was a rock album, I tried to listen to it as a standalone rock album.
Yeah,
and even then, it's really not my style. I just don't enjoy this. Like deep. It's got this deep South Americana, high octane.
I love high octane. I love high octane.
Is this low octane?
This is I don't know, man. This might be low octane.
Is this no octane?
This is no octane.
It's about cars, but we're not going fast. Jesus Christ.
This is like you're thinking about cars, but you're in one of them those little mini, like the Wiggles car outside the Safeway, waiting for your mum. Like, can we go on to the next one?
I don't know if I'm done hate fucking this yet.
Well, do you want to hate fuck the next one? Because it's kind of more of the same.
Is it?
Or at least it could be a little more tender.
Is it though?
I mean, it's upper rank. It's upper rank.
I don't know. It was.
It's upper rank for me as well.
Nice. There you go. All right, we're feeling. I couldn't put this in the same tier as Black Album, I don't think. But now this is high octane. Now we're singing about cars every fucking
the first
song.
track is Fuel, dude.
Good grief. I think this album has a pretty strong opening, far stronger than anything on Load.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Fuel and the Memory Remains decent.
With Load, I'll go back to Load a little as well.
Please.
I find it's the Larsisms are so uninspired. You can predict every single fill he's going to do.
Yeah.
Because it's always a dum on the beat 2, beat 4, and it's just that the entire album. There's no creativity left in the tank. Where there was so much in albums, especially 3 through to 5, really. It might be at this point like it's just expected, but it just feels like they're really just. I don't know if they're writing for a more corporate direction, which doesn't seem Metallica's brand, especially going forward.
No, it feels,
but it does. No, it
just feels uninspired.
Yeah,
it feels like falling into a comfort zone that they like begrudgingly exist in.
Blues rock is not my forte, and that is to an extent what this is. Metallica have always had a very bluesy bent to their songwriting, to their riffage. They use the blues note that diminished fifth all the time from Kill 'Em All. But here they are leaning into it so hard. They are just like, hey guys, have you noticed my new tattoo? It's just a fucking diminished fifth. And they're like, yeah, I know. You showed us last week, dude. It's I say this is as if I really don't like Reload, but it's serviceable compared to Load. I think it's quite good.
It's
and I
still
think I could
75
really
minutes.
it's they lost the cutting room floor, dude. Like
the cutting room floor remains empty. Like they swept it out after the Black Album. Let's be generous. Say after the Black Album.
I mean, you're saying and Justice, and I think it's not really there, but it's because that was, to me, full of good riff. Here, they're just not presenting the same quality. May I note that Kirk Hammett has massive writing credits for both Load and Reload.
Right.
I think it's largely due to Lars's structuring. Yeah. It's that riff-oriented structuring for songs. It feels very jammy, and it comes across that way.
Yeah.
It feels like the song doesn't know where it wants to go so many times.
Yeah, and so it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Having said all that, I rate Fuel as like just dumb fun, high octane, like southern kind of drawl blues rock metal shit so highly that that song alone puts it to C for me. Just because I don't dislike it as strongly as Load. Like it's not it's still 75 minutes of butt rock that doesn't need to be 75 minutes. Like this should have been a 45-minute album. It shouldn't have been, how many tracks is this? 13 tracks. It should have been 10 tops.
There are some really good songs on here though. Where the Wild Things Are, really cool. One of the three aforementioned New Guy tracks. Poor Newstead, fucking hell. Feel so sorry for this dude. The Memory Remains. It's pretty cool. I don't like it as a Metallica song, but I like it as a rock song.
Yeah. Unforgiven 2.
The Devil's Dance.
I like
Sick
Unforgiven
beats.
2 because
Unforgiven 2 is great.
They say the name of the song in the song.
Again.
But because it's a sequel song, it has that like more. It feels more like them saying the name of a movie in a movie than them just saying the name of a song in the song. Like, that's a super common thing, but for some reason it feels different here.
Yeah. I think Reload has a lot to offer, and if I gave it more time, I might be able to push this up to a B.
Okay. That's generous.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely top of the C's for me.
Sure.
I think. Which it was sitting at a pretty hard D before I really digested the album.
Hello.
So
hard D.
A hard D.
You know what that album art is?
Yeah. Yeah, it's blood pissing cum time.
But again, I feel like these two albums are the like aftergrog bogs of their discography.
Sure.
Let's get to some blood in the stool, dude.
We shall?
Yeah!
We shall. Can we talk about the production?
I don't think there's any way to talk about it without talking about the production.
I wanted to put this album at B.
Really?
I wanted to put this album at B.
Okay.
But I couldn't in good faith.
Sure.
Can we just pretend the early 2000s didn't happen in metal in general? This is such a weird leap into new metal. And it's so fucking boomer, dude.
New metal.
I get a new metal band.
I hear more of like a garage rock kind of thing. Like this was the first Metallica album I heard. Right. A friend over the road, his dad had it in their car, and I still remember hearing Frantic and being like, "This is fucking sick!" Like I was really thrilled by it, and I didn't have anything to compare it to. So Frantic, My World, and Shoot Me Again. I had them burnt onto like a mixed CD of a bunch of other stuff, including some like Drowning Pool and shit. And I spun the shit out of it. I really liked what I heard of this album. And I didn't have any, because I wasn't like on the internet, I wasn't talking to other like people who were into heavy metal. I had no idea that I shouldn't like this album, or that, like, it was, because of how much hate this receives. That does curve. It does. Yeah. So
reflect on how you consume an album.
Yeah. Totally.
And your initial impressions and your impressions going forth.
Yeah.
The more you hear people culturally disregard something, it does have an effect, of course.
Yeah. I would place it at a C as well. I like it. I would say this is a high C for me. I like this. I would sooner listen to this than Reload, but I would sooner listen to the Black Album than Saint Anger. Sure. I still think Saint Anger is cool. I think if any band other than Metallica had put this album out, I think it would be rated higher.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not to say it's not got its flaws. I still think it's got the problem. I mean, again, it's 75 minutes. It doesn't need to be that long. But because the production and the vibe about it, I think this is the jammiest Metallica album.
Definitely.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
And it's in the production, it's woven into the fabric of the album.
Yeah.
And you watch Some Kind of Monster, and it looks how it feels.
What's so confusing, talking about like the production and how low budget it sounds, but I guess it must have been, once again, with intent. Maybe they were just looking for a we don't give a fuck, no frills angle, because they did a whole DVD with this.
Yeah.
They did a whole documentary.
Well, yeah, Adam says, what about the context of Some Kind of Monster? Did that change anything?
I think it hurts it even more.
You think so?
I think it hurts it. It shows, like, it's very honest of them to do so, because there's a lot of tension in that doco. It's hard to watch because of how at odds and ends everyone is with each other.
I think at that point they have become this like parody of themselves.
It is. It feels like the Osbournes.
Yeah. It's really bizarre.
And this album, I don't think helps a great deal when you're looking at how much promotion and how much funding went into this album for this to be the result. And I don't say that in terms of just the songwriting. I think it's mainly the production that hampers it, and also the lyrics are pretty fucking average. The
lyrics are stinky, dude.
They're pretty fucking average. Yeah. The performances are pretty weak, but the songwriting itself is really catchy, for me at least. And that is absolutely what saves this album. super fucking catchy.
Yeah, dude, the
Way more than they have done to
some
me
kind of
since
monster
Justice.
riff. The
Oh my
fucking
god,
tough,
the
dude.
fucking Kirk video, learning that.
I don't know what's the Kirk video. I don't know that one.
We'll chuck it on after this, man.
Okay, cool.
It's look, we all
And I will say,
take time to learn at our own pace.
some of the lyrics are stinky. Some of the lyrics are fucking so cool.
My lifestyle determines my death style.
Yeah, dude. Shoot me again. I ain't dead yet. Oh, fucking A, dude. And again, this feels a little more. This feels more genuinely high octane than
It does.
Load
It does.
and Reload. So, and I like
would you
that
say
shit, so I like this album.
This feels, in some sense, the heaviest of their career, in a certain angle.
Maybe.
It's the most aggressive, I think, in a way, considering how where they've come from.
Feels like maybe the most unfiltered.
Yeah, it's maybe
adult
the most
expression
raw. I don't know.
of
It's
angst.
it's a different sort of frustration to Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
Where they're not kids angry at the world anymore; they're old men angry at themselves and each other.
Yeah, and I would say I think
I think they look for this in albums going forward and don't land it like they do on this album.
okay. I think I really like this album as just a talking point. I really like talking about it with people and getting people's impressions of it and stuff. But I think it's an album that had to happen. They were at rock bottom in terms of not their successes maybe, but again they'd become this weird walking parody of themselves, I think, and they had to hit this point to go, what the fuck are we doing? And then come back with. By
this point, they'd put out Garage Inc., S&M, and Live Shit Binge Purge, which are just off the record for this list, but I think they're all pretty excellent releases.
Yeah, I really like Garage Inc.
Yeah, and this wasn't too far. I feel like a few of these were between Reload and Saint Anger. When was
No, Garage Inc. was 1998, S&M was 99, then Saint Anger was 2003.
Yeah, so
and Live Shit was
that was 93. Yeah, it was cool to hear them do that after. It felt like a real throwback, pre Black Album. Just wanted to touch on those.
Yeah, sure.
Again, now that they've passed, because I think they're worth a mention. But I think that's all I need to really say about Saint Anger. I agree. If this was a Limp Bizkit album, it would be the best of their discography. And in a world, it could have been, I think.
Oh, man. Saint Anger, Gold Cobra, just the ultimate pairing, dude. All right, well, what's next?
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
Let's hit after this. They took a fucking long time between drinks.
They took a long, hard look at themselves.
Was it, 8 years?
I mean, it's 2003 to 2008, so...
Oh, was it only 5 years?
Yeah.
I give it a fat A, dude.
Yeah.
What a return to form. Absolutely. And I think this is this could be one of the more debatable places on the list for others. To me, this is a really solid A. I think this is very much my own. I'm inflecting my own bias very heavily here. This is the first Metallica album that I was witness to upon release.
Yeah.
As a Metallica fan, and not just a fan of metal in general.
Yeah.
I think this is some of the better songcraft in their career.
In their career or in their... I would say in their later,
I think it's
Album
hands down the best post-Justice as ranked.
Yeah.
Suffers a little from the usual culprit of the 1-2 punch of what the fuck production and also what the fuck cutting room floor.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the compression doesn't bother me too much. At this point, we've outlasted Saint Anger, we've outlasted Load and Reload. The bad production is bad production, with them being probably the richest metal band in the world, just comes as a, well, they have somehow decided this is the way to go.
Yeah, sure. I just want to point out Heath's comment. Look, it's not as stinky, but it's not worthy to sit next to Kill and Ride. Sort your life out. Where did I put it? Yes. I was sweating for a moment there. I don't want Heath to tell me to sort my life out. I'm well aware that I need to sort my life out. I don't need chat telling me to sort my life out.
I think Death Magnetic is better than Black Album.
I like it more. I would sooner listen to Death Magnetic over Black Album, but I would still kind of consider them same in my ranking. I would much rather listen to Kill 'Em All or Injustice than Death Magnetic. I think when it first came out, that's a recent thing. Like coming back and listening to it, I thought Death Magnetic would be A tier for me. Because I was like you said, it was the first album that came out where I felt like I was in on the ground floor for this one. And that so often for a lot of my favorite bands, that album, even if it's not a very good album, has a special place in my heart because it's when I felt for that band in particular, I felt like a real fan. You know, and like Day That Never Comes, I really like as a ballad of theirs. I think it's their best ballad. I think it's my favorite of their ballads. And
favorite, not best.
All Nightmare Long really fucking excited me. As a kid.
Yeah,
and it still does. It still does.
Huge. I think it's a really consistent track listing.
Yeah, I really like Unforgiven 3. I think Judas Kiss and Suicide and Redemption are the two tracks that get in the way of my enjoyment of it, or get in the way of my enjoyment of the pacing. I feel myself checking my watch. I zone
Once again, it's a 75-minute album. By that time, I've already had pretty much an hour worth of the album, and I'm sort of done with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I think they could happily end on the Unforgiven 3 here. My Apocalypse is pretty cool.
I like My Apocalypse as a kind of end, and I think if you look at the track listing and you cut out Judas Kiss and Suicide and Redemption, end it with My Apocalypse, it has a totally similar vibe to Master, where Orion is this kind of sprawling
a penultimate
track. Yeah, and then Damage Inc. comes in as like a last final, threat.
It's a great formula where you show your sensitive side and then end with a strong.
You go psych. I don't have feelings
with a full stop.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is so goddamn hooky. I think most albums wish they could be simultaneously this heavy and hooky, and it's something that I really look for in thrash. Is just to have a sense of a hook, whether it's rhythmic, melodic, harmonic. It doesn't matter. It could be just aggressive. It could be in the percussion. It could be through any means.
Yeah.
Often percussive hooks are the best way to go in thrash because it maintains that aggression. Yeah. And Death Magnetic is fucking shockers with it, dude.
Yeah, and I feel like this.
So I'm happy with an A.
There's some genuinely inventive parts here on Lars's part, and they were fun to. Again, this album came out in 2008. I was only just starting to play with drums and stuff at the time, so I spent a lot of time trying to learn this stuff, and it was All Nightmare Long in particular was challenging, but within my grasp sort of thing. So I've always really appreciated Lars's playing in general, or Lars as a player, for that quality. I think he will continue to inspire kids to pick up the sticks for years to come. So I have a warm place in my heart for that man.
Definitely.
I thought this album was thrashier than it is. I remember it being a little more heavy hitting, or closer to like a Master or Injustice than Black Album. But listening back to it, it feels more like Black Album to me.
To me, it gets more of a thrash groove. Like stuff like Broken, Beat, and Scarred is my sad but true equivalent.
Sure.
Where if it's sitting more like mid-tempo, groovy, really heavy, bouncy.
Yeah.
It feels like an upgrade.
Yeah, sure. I feel like there's more of that though. Like All Nightmare Long, That Was Just Your Life, and My Apocalypse are the only tracks that really have the like up-tempo thrash beat.
To me, stuff like Cyanide, even if it's more mid-tempo, still holds that. It still has a sense of urgency.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Cool.
Even if it isn't on BPM, it's still it's still quite driving.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think that's all I need to say about Death Magnetic. Probably more than I needed to say about Death Magnetic, to be honest. Let's move on to the final nail in the coffin. Hardwired to self-destruct.
Yeah. Again, a pretty a really significant gap between albums here. What, 8 years between Death Magnetic and Hardwired. Double album.
Yeah. Oops.
It's like they
stinky.
The cutting room floor is lava, dude.
This could have been a one album job, and
It should have been a one album.
They could have used the second disc to
As a
wipe their
frisbee.
asses. I don't know why this disc exists, really.
Nah.
I think Here Comes Revenge is pretty cool. Am I Savage is alright. Stuff like Man Unkind. Oh my god, how old are you, dude?
Yeah, I love that unkind. The unkind is capitalized.
That's some fucking Mustaine shit, dude.
It really is.
Don't you
the title of the album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
It's all Mustaineisms. these are Davisms. What are you doing, guys? Come on.
Yeah. I really
I'm not gonna
feel...
say you're better than this because I love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I mean, it sits at a C for you. Where did I put it? Let's have a look. Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, I put it as a B, and I stand by that because I like it more than Reload and Saint Anger. I would sooner listen to that than the other two.
I'd be very happy not to go to this album. Again, maybe it's my recency bias of I haven't had enough time with this album to fall in love with any songs or anything. I just don't feel like there are any great songs on this record. Like the last great song they did was The Day That Never Comes.
Really? Okay.
I think it's the last great Metallica song that was written.
I think it sits a bit. It sits.
I was trying to go back to shit. Where could it be?
Yeah, it sits at a B for me because I think Atlas Rise is a fucking really cool song. I like Moth into Flame as well, but Atlas Rise I think has. As soon as it starts, it's like I'm hearing Creeping Death again. I really rate that track.
I don't really. I don't get the same.
There's not much else.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I wish I could give. I want to put this album higher. I want to enjoy this album more.
I really like Dream No More. It's back to like creepy Cthulhu shit. Halo on Fire is decent. And then disc 2 starts, and it's 5 tracks that I'm going, why is this here?
The songs are so long. The Hammett solos have not evolved at all. In fact, they've probably gone backwards. Let's speak of going backwards. Motherfucker lost his phone and gets no writing credits for this album.
Sorry, what?
Hammett lost his phone with... this is... no word of a lie, recorded 250 to 300 riffs, allegedly, on this alleged phone that he allegedly lost in this alleged airport, and that's why he couldn't bring
my fucking homework.
Yeah, and couldn't bring anything to the table for this album. After how many years between albums? 6? More?
8.
10?
8.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's nuts. So... I think at least he broke the curse of more Hammett is more bad, because good job, cunt. You fucking... How do you not remember anything you wrote for the last 8 years?
Yeah. See, I think this album should have been the first album, the first disc, and then Spit Out the Bone, the last track on the second disc. That just needed to be 7 tracks would have been more than enough. 7 really fucking good tracks. A short but really fucking good album from these guys would have been more than enough. And Heath mentions Spit Out the Bone was okay, but someone tell Lars the snare drum isn't the only drum for the kit for fills. Absolutely, I feel like that the
last is
the slightly inventive quality that was in his playing on Death Magnetic that excited me, and that still does. Like I still listen to it, and The Day That Never Comes is a fucking. There's some really nice grooves on there that are really fucking fun to play. There's nothing that gets me excited about picking up the sticks on this album, but I could be wrong. Hey, Tales of Pesh, how you doing?
Hey,
party,
baby.
Beautiful
Cheers,
boy.
dude.
Adam also says I like Atlas Rise. Thank you, Adam. Beautiful. That's a point for me, baby.
It is.
No points.
There are absolutely points, and we're about to get to that because
I have nothing else to say.
I think I'm good with this.
Where do you think?
I think one final footnote.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, like, where do you think? Where does Metallica sit for you? Are they a joke? Are they, what do you think? Thank you for the sub there, Tales of Pesh.
Thank you very much. As a band?
Yeah, or like where they are in their career. Are they done? What are they for you? Just for you personally,
sure.
Fucking,
they are absolutely not.
We're sitting recording like a tiered list thing in fucking Niddry in Melbourne. We're well aware of our standing in society.
It's fine.
Having said that, what do you reckon?
Yeah, we still have 2 cents. That's about all we have. We don't have 2 mil like these cunts. So, where does Metallica stand for me? I had an epiphany doing this tier list, and it was a realization that I think many people have had far before me, and have witnessed and understood through their career. Through the latter half of their career, when I kept asking, these guys have such an illustrated and decorated career of excellent performance, excellent songwriting, excellent production, and they must be absolute wealths of knowledge. Like they must be like titans of understanding how a strong song is crafted and how to market accordingly, how to mix accordingly. And there is no question of that. They must know. So why do these albums keep getting released with, I'd say, music is audio is a science and mixing is a science. In that regard, like outside of art, like just production to make you feel, why are they being produced subpar or poorly or in terms of modern production?
Okay.
They have the tools, they have the capability, they have the finances. Like, this isn't some fiscal problem. And it doesn't seem to serve the album well, and it doesn't seem to serve the listener's experience very well either. So why is Death Magnetic so compressed? Why does St. Anger sound like it was recorded in a toilet? Why is Hardwired to Self-Destruct so very boomy? And I went, it's because Metallica doesn't give a fuck. They've been writing for themselves for what they want to do since probably Load.
I would say since Load.
Maybe their entire catalogue, but maybe it's a switch that happened during Black Album. Maybe it's what they've always done, but at a certain point they went, we don't feel like writing to the genre that we're catering to so much anymore. And we want to produce against the grain, and we want to write against the grain. We don't want to write for a marketable song that the audience is going to enjoy. We want to write for us. We want to write jammy songs because it's what we want to do, and that's all there is to it. There is no way a bunch of these albums could have exchanged that many hands and not have been cleaned up, and riffs not being cut, and songs sounding more polished if that was the case otherwise, I think. And I don't think there is any other band in the world that is in this position in the metal sphere. No other band is this rich and has this many resources at their disposal and chooses to do Lulu just because they want to.
Holy
I
fuck,
think
dude.
that is so fucking cool. That is why Hardwired Self-Destruct can't be a D, regardless of whether I like it or not. I think that we don't give a fuck attitude. When they otherwise seem out of touch with I guess their optics. When it comes to the songcraft, they just do them. And that's so fucking cool, dude.
That's I feel quite similarly, where I feel like Load Onwards was them writing for themselves, but I feel like Load and Reload, there's maybe a sense that they're just producing albums because they got to produce one. They might as well produce something that
it does sound a little corporate.
It's
weird.
They're not interested in. It feels like there's no love for what they're producing, and then Saint Anger feels like this frustrated fuck kind of album. That helped them kind of hit the reset button and at least start producing stuff that they were having fun with. It sounds like Death Magnetic, it sounds like they're having fun. It's not uninspired. And I would say the same thing for Hardwired, even though I think the drum parts are lacking. I've heard, I think I heard a rumor when the album came out that Lars struggles with double kick stuff now. So maybe it's just all he's fucking capable of playing. I know drumming takes an immense,
Black Album's turning 30 this year, dude.
Toll on your back and stuff.
How long they been gone?
And he's old as fuck. So I have. Heath mentioned Metallica important, just no longer exciting for anything new. Yeah, I feel like they're kind of in a very comfortable, very lucrative rut that I'm happy for them to be in. I'm not looking to Metallica for anything new or for them to push the genre. I'm just looking for them to exist as long as they are physically able to, because I like them.
To me, they're fallen in a place of where I would usually sit them at this point in their career, and the back half of this catalogue would say are now a legacy act, in which they are you're not expecting anything more of them creatively, and happy to see them live as yes, I got to see these Titans live.
Yeah.
I got to witness and be in the presence of greatness.
Yeah, totally.
Some people who did so much for a genre and influenced and inspired so many people. I don't think that's Metallica. To answer your question of what I think of Metallica, Are They Joke, etc., I think Metallica don't care what I think. And
that's cool.
And I think that's really fucking neat.
Yeah. I
don't think there's any other bands in the world with their position that would do or is doing that, is capable of doing that even, but they're not. Just trying to pump out albums to go back to their glory days or to at least not from my
I feel like they're
perception.
It feels like they're really doing what they want to do, and they're having fun doing it, and I wouldn't begrudge anyone that. I really respect them for that.
And I don't think they're a nostalgia act, Heath.
Was that
saying
they're a nostalgia?
I don't think so. I think they've still got fuel in the tank, but they're doing it for them.
They're using that fuel. Give me fuel, give me fire, all that shit. Just on kind of whatever interests them at the time. Like, they've done a second S&M thing. They put out a fucking movie. They put out a movie, through the never. Like, they're in a position where they can do that. They put out fucking Lulu just because they wanted to.
They played in Antarctica because they could. They did
none of that
all.
stuff, and they keep doing all this weird shit, and none of it has ruined them.
No, and I don't think anything they could do really would at this point.
Nah.
If Lulu doesn't, then
uncancelable. Oh my god, we need to harvest Metallica. We need to harvest their essence.
I'd say many other bands in this position would be fighting for viability and durability and
relevance
and relevancy, and I think that would make a band nostalgia act.
Yeah, sure.
These guys are playing to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well,
let's
enough, I think. I think we can wrap it up there in terms of our fucking thoughts. Chat, whose tier is better?
It really does come down to that.
Subjective opinion is objectively better. How do we do a fucking poll?
We'll punch a poll in. You guys can vote.
I'll bring that list back up and you can have a look.
Yeah.
All right, 2 minutes?
Yeah, go on.
Literally double the amount I was going to give them. That's generous. All right. Let's have a look.
And as I said, a meeting of hands
down. Heath says Ride is easily favourite Metallica. Jordal says no, I liked your white Nikes comment, Binary. Fat Factory is my favourite restaurant. Oh dear, 1984. Yeah. What else we got? We got some praise for Good Egg. Thank you very much. Thoughts on Kirk's writing here? I think we covered that, or you covered that. I'm not a guitarist. I don't know what I'm listening to.
I got through this whole thing without mentioning Kirk's fucking tremolo. Okay. Good grief! Learn variants, motherfucker.
He says because he wrote the heavy dissection in Creeping Death.
Yes, he did.
But that is taken from an Exodus tune. Yeah. Biggest of S tiers. Captain Bear Mode chucked a lurk at some point. How you doing,
thanks,
dude?
Baby.
Hope you're well. It was great seeing your stream the other day. 50% of Murderface's jokes is born. Was that in response to my fart analogy? I feel like it might have been.
It may have been, or something to do with piss. Who knows?
That's it.
Planet Piff.
Yeah, the lovely raid from the lovely Tales of Piff.
Yes, thank you very much.
Definitely a great watch and chat. Awesome. I'm enjoying this. Lots of fun.
Sick.
Sweet.
Brilliant.
Enjoying the wisdoms.
All right.
Right.
Hey, Connor.
Hey,
you take the lead
there
on this
it
one,
is.
dude.
I won out by 1. Suck it, nerd. All right, well, in that case, so we thought this being the kind of shaking of the hands, whoever won this one would decide where to take this next. So I am going to subject you to the entire discography of, oh my god, I'm actually I don't know where to take this, because I had a couple of ideas. I was like, oh no, I'll do this one, and then in the last day more came flooding in. I'm like, oh I could be really cruel, I could be less so. I would like to take this in a slightly heavier direction, but not one that I think you'll hate. One that I think I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are on. I want to hit the Black Dahlia Murder.
Hey, nice.
Black Dahlia Murder,
cool.
their discography. Cool. They put out their 9th album, I want to say.
Good one.
This year or 2020.
I got a busy week ahead of me.
Sorry, their 10th album.
Oof.
Oh, sorry, no, 9th album. There's a live one in there.
Hey,
Sorry.
thanks, Mano.
Thank you, Mano.
Cheers, babe.
Fabergé egg. Halloween fart sounds. All right, so yeah, we will hit the Black Dahlia Murder next week.
All right.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you very much for joining us for this first iteration of this segment. Chat, 24 people sitting with us, listening to us talk utter fucking nonsense. So thank you. Really appreciate that.
Cheers, guys.